You did that, mate. You did that.
Yes, this is typical speaker threat, isn't it?
How are you, my friend? You well?
That's right. I just got put on the spot to wait. Awesome, guys. Thank you so much. And actually, before we kick off, I want to give you guys a round of applause. So, thank you. Thank you so much for traveling and being here. I appreciate absolutely every single one of you. Today's going to be slightly different. So, who's been to a Q event previously? Yeah? So typically at the quarterly events, we'll do like, here's some new marketing strategies. Try this, maybe set up this new system, maybe try this new approach to delivering your coaching. And that's all very well and good, but as we head into the back end of the year now, and we move into 2023, I want today to be more about you guys having the clarity and the focus that you need to really thrive next year. And so we're going to do that in a couple of ways, and we're going to focus on two core things today. The first thing is changing belief systems. Something that my mentor told me recently, Taki Moore, is that all the best coaching comes from changing belief systems. And when he told me that, I kind of sat with it for a while and I pondered on it and thought, is that true? Because I often think that great coaching is having the understanding about training, nutrition, in our space in particular. You need to know training, you need to know nutrition, recovery, supplementation, all those things. And that's true, you do need that stuff. They are a prerequisite to being a great coach. But great coaching comes from changing belief systems. And the more I thought about that, the more I started to kind of think, actually, that's 100% right. But the biggest change that happened in my client and friend Al was when his belief system changed from, I'm a 48-year-old man running several businesses, I'm busy, I'm burnt out, I'm tired, to thinking that going to the gym and training was simply about preserving or longevity, or I just need to do this because I have to, because I'm getting on. I think you were 48 at the time when you came to me, Al. To actually, you can be in the best shape of your life at 50, 48, Al, if we do X, Y, and Z. And when we switched his mindset from that to that, the results that he achieved were absolutely astounding, as you can see there. And that's what coaching is. It's changing belief systems. Changing from thinking that I'm doing this for X to I'm doing this for Y.
Do you guys come across the amount of people online who are coaches who complain about having to make content as an online coach? It's like being a car salesman who fucking hates cars, or a financial advisor who hates money, or a dominatrix who just wants to cuddle. Like, you've picked the wrong fucking job, pick a different one. Being on camera, making content is your job, in large part. The other side is, you know, the skills of being a coach and all that lovely jazz. The aim of this workshop, and it is a workshop, this is not just going to be me talking to you guys, is to come up with some kind of process for you to solve some of those issues and have a thing that you can go through to be like, cool, I can be quite confident in this. So it is not going to be me just talking to you the whole thing. So we'll be covering planning your content, executing it in front of camera, editing it a little bit, and then assessing it. Back in the day, I went to drama school and spent several years of my life as an actor on stage and doing all that kind of jazz. And I had an acting tutor who once said, rush to embarrassment. The real thing we're afraid of in almost anything that we do is that people are going to look at us and think, he's a bellend. And that's what we're afraid of. We're afraid of being embarrassed in front of other people. And while you're afraid of being embarrassed in front of other people, because it sucks, it's not a nice feeling, it gets in the way of all the shit that you actually need to be thinking about and doing when you're talking to a group or you're talking to the camera, which is focusing on whatever it is that you're supposed to be delivering, the message you're getting across, the personality you have, all of that shit. So if the thing you are most afraid of is looking like a bellend, fucking run at it. Look like a bellend. Look like a dickhead. Look like it fast. Rush to it. Get over it. Nothing else happens. People laugh at you. Oh no. You'll live. Okay, so you're going to feel like a bit of a bellend, probably, during some of the things I ask you to do during this workshop. And I would remind you to rush to it. It's okay. Everyone in here likes you, I think. Well, Ollie's face suggests otherwise on that thing. But you'll be okay with that. Is that okay? Sweet. For those of you who are less confident on camera, we can probably break that down into a few different things. Who feels like you just don't know what to say and you get a bit meh when the lights go on? How many of you feel like you know what to say, but you don't find an interesting way to say it? Cool, okay, we should be able to work on that. Or you think you're boring? You are. Okay, so the whole idea with this is hopefully we can fix some of those things before the end. Now, how many of you guys just flick the camera on and just go, let's see what comes out of my mouth today? Okay. You can do that, and some of you will get away with it, and some of you will be quite good at it, but most of you, it's going to be shit. Right? It's a bit like, who plays a musical instrument in here? Wow. You talented bastards. Right? Okay, so one dude at the back. Is it literally one? All right, fuck this talk. We're all going to learn to play an instrument by the end of this particular thing. All right, if you're learning to play an instrument in that case, the first thing that you do is you learn to strum some chords or to play some basic songs. The first thing you don't do is freestyle jazz, because you would suck at it. When you talk to camera, your ability to be engaging and interesting, it's way harder when you're making it up on the fly than when you have an actual plan for it. So playtime. Who fancies a take? All right, some of you have to be confident with at least what you've written. Sweet, come on up. Because this is all spiel, right? But just like coaching in the gym, it's about what does he do, and when we watch it, what do we think could be improved within some of those things? Ideally, we might even plug that guy into it so we can see this one. So, camera's there. So, you're doing it to the camera. We're making camera content. Go for it.
Here we go. If this goes wrong, somebody call an ambulance.
I'm very excited.
Woo! 5 top tips for big dick energy at 5 a.m. in the morning. Boom!
All right. That was amazing. Did that work as an opener?
Yes.
Fuck yeah. Would you watch that? Yeah. 100%, 100%. The only, so he's right to have zoomed in, because if he wasn't zoomed in at that point, he's taking up quite a small amount of real estate. So the only thing that might be a problem for that is the fact that opening bit, I don't know he's about to fucking backflip and sprint at the camera, right? Which is awesome. But that happens 4 seconds in, something like that. So there might be some people who've been like, oh, he's just doing a push-up. But I'll take it. I don't fucking care. I thought it was awesome. The energy was great. It had your attention. That's a great opener. So what we've learned from this is that you all need to backflip. Seems reasonable.
2013, I broke my neck playing rugby and was laid in a hospital bed, speaking to a Hungarian surgeon called Mr. Kimini, who advised me that he was making a 10-inch incision through my neck. He was going to remove the 2 broken discs, remove my spinal cord, put a Medtronic cage in, zip me back up, and I would be good as gold. Now you can imagine the feeling in your stomach, because we're going to talk about confidence as well, when I don't know if you've ever had someone say to you that they're going to make an 8-inch incision through your neck, but it's similar to the current day situation when you feel like you've lost your mobile phone. You shit yourself. He then looked me straight in the eye and said, but I've done this operation 1,200 times, and I've never, ever fucked up once. That is confidence. Now, we see confidence as success. Would you agree that we see successful people are confident people, okay? And it's actually the opposite. It's our relationship with failure and how we can deal with failure over time that will improve our confidence. So my journey as a coach, from that point on, I went into a period of depression. My rugby career was over. I started drinking. I started taking drugs. I got divorced. Everything kind of went. That situation actually ended up being the gift and the lesson, which again, we're going to come on to, and we'll discuss another gift that happened only this year, which actually led to the no sales call situation, which was in January this year. My nose became, not from the previous drug abuse, from rugby again, became that blocked where it broke, the bone healed across. I couldn't breathe at all. Ollie and I had just started working together, and they had to drill through both sides and put a metal plate in January, Fitness Freshers Week. 8 weeks, no sales calls. You can imagine the emotions. I can't talk. I'm going to lose all this money. And this entire situation of what we've created came out of that operation. So that disaster was actually the gift that led to this.
Yes, okay, team, how are we? First things first, I want to just actually give some love to Ollie. I know the time, the energy, the effort, and everything that goes into obviously creating these events. So I think it's absolutely huge that obviously he's giving you so much love in terms of the time, effort, energy you've now taken on a Friday to come down and be in this incredible room. But I think it's also important that we give him some love, just for obviously putting on such an incredible event. And I most importantly now want to be able to raise the room. I have a kind of almost a nickname that is Joe Kane, and hopefully I'm going to be able to elevate over the next hour or so, and then Kyran is the magic mushrooms who is going to now mellow you out. He's going to now be able to land the plane, and we're going to be able to hopefully walk away with a few key core actionable steps that you're now going to be able to plug and play into your personal, physical, and professional life. So we're going to really look at how you can now become unstoppable in body, business, and life using your own high-performance coach GPS. Why are you now different from other coaches? It's you, your personality, your challenges, your setbacks, your experiences, what you do, why you do what you do, your hobbies, your interests, your quirkiness, your dick jokes. Yep, that's what makes you different. That's what makes you you. It's not because you're more knowledgeable, it's not because you're better, it's not because you've got X. Right now, put your hand in the air if you are 100% confident with that, and if I got you to stand here right now, and say it to the room, who would be like, yes, I would absolutely nail it, and I'd make sure that the majority of these people were so immersed in me, and there was clarity. Okay, who needs to go away and now basically speak to the camera and basically get better at this? In this type of market, people now need to be led, and the person with the greatest amount of certainty will now always win. And certainty comes from the experiences in shifting from the how-to to the how-I. So not how to achieve a body transformation of your dreams. It might be how I went from A to B and accomplished C, all without D. And how are you now telling more stories? Because people are buying you. That is the difference. Everybody in this room pretty much will have the same information. The difference between the person sat to the left and right of you is now going to be you, your experiences, your stories, your lessons, what you've now been through, and now fundamentally why you do what you do. Teachers do this, do this, do this, do this. Coach is standing shoulder to shoulder. Coach is giving them the empowerment, the autonomy to feel as though they're making their own decisions. You now working together as a collaborative and as a team to now be able to explore, be curious, create. And again, you have to shift between the two, and quite often initially in a client journey, you have to teach. 1, 2, 3. Because like Paul said earlier, people obviously then like monkey see, monkey do to start off with. But then as the client journey evolves, are you now providing them with more autonomy? I think we're living in an industry where it's just full of highlight reel. Everybody's painting this perfect picture. And when you're trying to make something for yourself, you're trying to provide safety, security for you and your family. You're putting yourself out there. You're taking yourself outside of your own comfort zone. You're really exposing yourself in a number of different ways. It can feel quite uncomfortable. It can feel quite difficult. It can feel quite challenging. And it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage to be sat in this room. It takes a lot of courage to invest in somebody else. It takes a lot of courage not to follow the norm. It takes a lot of courage to now be able to turn up on social media and speak with a degree of authenticity and actually now add value and help people. It's not easy. I think sometimes that gets underappreciated. Because I know that each and every one of you will put so much self-applied pressure on yourself. Because I know exactly what it's like being sat in those shoes. Because we just want to have an impact. We want to be better. We want to raise and elevate the standard of the industry. We want to help because of the stories and the lessons and experiences we've now been through. There are levels and there are fucking levels. Yep, there's creating a Facebook group and there's creating a Facebook group. There's having clients and then there's having clients. There's then coaching and then there's coaching. There's delivering, there's delivering. There's listening and there's listening. There's creating content and then there's creating content. Ticking a box and turning up is not good enough. It might have been good enough previously, but it's not good enough now.
Today we're going to be talking about financial self-worth and pricing like a pro. And we're going to do two things. One thing is a very quick mental performance audit. I want you to walk away very clear from a mindset and mental performance perspective as to what you need to work on. The difference between mental performance and mental health. Mental health makes you feel a bit better about yourself. That's very much the therapy world. Things like depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, eating disorders. That's the mental health world. I live in the mental performance world. And the difference between mental health and mental performance is really simple. If you're a high-performance coach, if you're a high-performance entrepreneur, you will live and die by your decisions, and many of your decisions are driven by your emotions. So within that audit, you're going to be very, very clear on where you need to work on, and then we're going to be looking at financial self-worth. There's going to be a little bit around your self-worth and how we can start to build that today. We're also going to be talking about how to actually sell in a much more effective way. The happiest people spend much time in a state of flow, the state in which people are so involved in an activity that nothing else seems to matter. The experience itself is so enjoyable that people will do it even at great cost for the sheer sake of doing it. I often think the secret to being happy in life, and I don't like the word happy, but we'll come back to that later, but to feel fulfilled and the connection is to regularly enter flow state. Those that regularly enter flow state or often report themselves to be more happy, they have more gratitude, much more fulfilled. Money is the topic of very emotional conversations when we're growing up. And it's often the messages that you've received. Some of them might be, money doesn't grow on trees. What do you think? We're made of money? Dad, can I have this? Okay, how much is that going to cost? Instantly you feel bad about having asked. All of these messages are going into your subconscious mind, and if we think about the subconscious mind like software, that is where all the lines of code of reality is being written when you're a child. So if you've had lots of messages from the world saying that we're not enough, and when we take these messages in as children, it's not easy for us to logically process that and say, that's not true. We just go, yeah, that's right, because the adults said it. But at the end of the day, our systems are not built for abundance. Our systems are built for scarcity. This and this, depending on your view of evolution, we won't go too much into the philosophical side of did God create us? Was it over hundreds of thousands of years from monkeys? Did aliens come here and mess with the gene pool and all of a sudden now we're all speaking and we're animals? That one interests me. I can't confirm it. But generally we believe that this has taken a long time to be developed and that has taken a long time to be developed. And if you think about how quick our environments have changed, even in just 300 years, the fact we've got a building like this 300 years ago would be like, whoa, it's like electricity running through the place. Like, what's that all about? Our worlds have changed so much faster than our bodies, than our minds have been able to adapt. We're built for fucking running around in shit in the forest and seeing a dead cow and getting lucky and going, some food there. Or just seeing some blackberries in a bush and getting hold of that. The fact that we have fridges full of food is just unbelievable. The fact that we can just change the temperature in here is unbelievable. So our environments have changed so much faster. So we are literally built for scarcity because that's what kept us alive and that's what enabled us to reproduce. That's it. But then when we think about human beings and our ability to reason, our ability to think, our ability to plan, this is where there's a bit of cognitive dissonance because emotionally we're responding with scarcity. We don't live in a world of scarcity. We live in a world of abundance. This is arguably the most, and maybe 5-10 years ago, I don't know, but arguably this is the most successful time in history that we've lived. We can have medicine, we can have food, we can have shelter, we can have fucking water. You can go to a tap and get hold of water. We all know how to read and write. Where I live, there are many people that can't even read and write. That is inherent abundance. We are so fucking fortunate, yet we can only focus on the stuff that we perceive that we don't have. So I would challenge you to go out and get some no's. Send more DMs and try and get rejected. Now, don't offend anyone. Still run the same playbooks that Ollie is giving you. But instead of going, I've got to try and close this client, I've got to try and do this, just see and get some no's. How can I help? How can I be more explorative? Run the playbook and just see. And what you'll probably start to find is if you try and actually look for more no's, you'll start getting more yeses because you're not putting pressure on that. And getting used to being told no is going to do a lot of favors. If you get a no and you instantly feel wounded and rejected, well, your relationship with sales or selling or acquiring new customers is not going to be very good. It's not going to be very consistent because nobody wants to get rejected. If you get a no and you go, okay, that's some data that message did not work and did not connect with that individual and I can move on. Sounds a little bit robotic, but at the end of the day, that's how software sales companies work, which is a lot of my background is understanding that you just need to test and test and test and test and test and remove yourself, your ego, your worth from the sales process. Rip the potential client off of their pedestal. If you put somebody on a pedestal, you give them no choice but to look down on you. I did a post about this, about how I landed $1 billion client in Dubai. And essentially, I ripped him off his pedestal. Met him at a restaurant. He was like your typical charming, but slightly alpha aggressive kind of guy, you know? And he's used to everyone just giving him what he wants. And we were chatting, we were going back and forth, and you know, he's a big football fan as well, so we were having a bit of banter there and boxing. It was all going well. And at the end of the day, I started to realize he actually needed me more than I needed him. And the message I delivered was very simple. When it comes to economics, I cannot compete. And perhaps I'll never compete, and that's okay. But when it comes to mental performance and mindset, there is absolutely no competition here. From what you've told me, you need me more than I need you. Instantly, you rip somebody off their pedestal. You don't have to be as aggressive as that. He needed that in the moment. But in your head, if you're thinking, I need to sell to this person, you've already lost, because you're already begging. Please come and work with me, please. When you start to understand that, well, actually, I'm still trying to figure out whether I want to work with you. This is a two-way process. I'm interviewing you as a client as much as you are interviewing me as to whether we work together. But if you put them on a pedestal, you have no choice, and they will look down on you, subconsciously and consciously. Ask the client, what makes you a great client to work with? Again, we're just leveling the playing field here. We're just helping them understand, well, why do I want to work with you? Because if you get stuck in the, I need to, please work with me, please work with me, please work with me, please work with me, you can't really honor that client and give them what they need. Here, the client starts to realize, actually, I need to kind of prove a bit of value here. I need to understand that not everybody gets in, and that's okay. If you got what you came for from today, how would you know? That's my favorite coaching question in the whole planet. If you got what you came for from me or from TMP, how would you know? And when I said that in the masterclass, and Zooms are really cool because you've got the chat, and I can get instant real time with what all of you are thinking without any of you saying anything. And I said, if you got what you came for, how would you know? Clarity, 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 clarity. Often, when I speak, that's what people are looking for. They're looking for clarity about themselves, about what they're going to do and how that's going to work. How much clarity do you have right now in what you need to do, who you are, and what needs to happen in order for you to get to where you want to get to?
Guys, thank you so much for your attention today. We came with two goals in mind and two outcomes that we wanted for each of you. Goal number one was to challenge or change your belief systems around certain things. Do we feel like we've achieved that in certain areas? Yeah? The second thing was clarity moving forward into the next year and your ability to communicate your message to a higher level. Do we feel like we've achieved that to some degree today? Yeah? So now it's all about connecting, taking everything that we've learned, building relationships in this incredible community that we've got. We've got a couple of hours now between here and dinner at 7 p.m. back in here. So please connect, build relationships, and let's have a wicked evening.